Hello and welcome to another edition of Big Conversations. I'm Mike Lee in Washington. Would you ever whip a defenseless animal? Well, some people do. Perhaps it's misplaced anger or rage. Other times, it's characterized and accepted as proper training practice for animals. It's always controversial. In this post, I'm going to tell you a story which involves two videos of horses being whipped. It may be difficult to watch. And there's a twist to the story. One of the horse whippings has caused shock among a lot of people. The other horse whipping is part of a multi-billion-dollar industry which draws millions of fans. Both examples tell us something about animal welfare and about the willingness of many of us to turn a blind eye to cruel things that entertain us. There's also a touch of class or cultural warfare in this tale. So if you're willing to watch, let's begin. According to the BBC and other news platforms, Charlotte Dujardin, a six-time Olympic dressage medalist, has withdrawn from the Paris Games because this video allegedly shows her whipping a horse in training a few years ago. The whistleblower who brought the video to the public domain is quoted as saying, Charlotte Dujardin was explaining during the session that she wanted the horse lifting the legs up more in canter. It was not a good look. Charlotte dropped out of the Paris competition this week and is quoted as saying, what happened was completely out of character and does not reflect how I train my horses or coach my pupils. However, there's no excuse. I am deeply ashamed and should have set a better example in that moment, unquote. According to the BBC, after her withdrawal from the Olympics, the 39-year-old was provisionally suspended by the equestrian's governing body, the FEI, which received the footage on Monday. So, whipping a horse, even to make it raise its legs to put on a better show for all of us, is widely seen in the world of equestrian sports, at least in this case, as shameful. However,
they're off in the Kentucky Derby.
Here is an example of how whipping a horse can earn owners, trainers, as well as lucky ticket holders a ton of money. I'm showing this year's Kentucky Derby because it's a famous race, but it's pretty ordinary when it comes to using the whip.
Here comes a run from Stronghold.
As they round the bend in the Derby, take a look at what at least some of the jockeys are using to encourage, yes, that's the word used, encourage their mounts to win. The whip.
Here comes a run from Stronghold and Resilience has now moved up to take the lead as Fierceness is given way, coming by the 16th pole, and Mystic Dan has now come through on the inside. It is Mystic Dan down toward the inside with the lead.
According to the charity World Horse Welfare, quote, ethically, we do not believe that the use of the whip to make horses run faster is justified because the horse does not benefit and indeed may suffer harm from its use. The purpose of its use is coercive and undermines the concept of partnership between horse and human, which is the foundation of ethical horse sport. And the research available provides no proof that use of the whip makes horses run faster or stops them from slowing down.
Take the lead as Fierceness is given way, coming by the 16th.
Here's the winning horse in the Kentucky Derby being whipped while approaching the finish line.
Mystic Dan down toward the inside with the lead in the final 16th. Forever Young, Sierra Leone is coming. These three coming down.
So what happens to the owner of a winning horse that is whipped?
The owners, the Gasaway family, and all this ownership group. The trainer, my friend Kenny McPeak, and jockey Brian Hernandez Jr. Congratulations to everybody.
Big conversations are going on about safety, whether the whip actually hurts or harms horses, and about tradition, which can sometimes be a very heavy stone to move. There's also the aspect of cultural or class warfare in this big conversation. For example, in England, where I've spent 45 years of my life, horse racing has a huge fan base among all kinds of people, from royalty to the working classes. It sort of belongs to the people. But dressage, with its formal clothing, is considered, or at least looks like, a sport more for the upper classes, even though a lot of ordinary people take part. This week, a horse rider in a formal coat got a lot of coverage when a horse is whipped. Jockeys down at the track, not so much. This big conversation is itching for a follow up. I'm keen to explore whether more of those fancy horse shows with its animals prancing about in a way they would not do on their own are made possible by reward and kindness or by punishment. Are trainers and riders dead wrong to use whips? Or is there more to the story? The Whipping the Horses also cries out for your comments. Please let us know what you think. If you want your friends or family to also see the follow up, just ask them to subscribe. It's free, and they might enjoy a long, tall straw to the bottom of a big issue. I'm Mike Lee in Washington.